Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Harvey County Talk. As always, I'm your host, Lance Gormley. Our guests on the program today are Patrick Lambert and Casie Wiens, who are representatives for Crayons, which is a child care center that services ages 2 weeks up to 5 years old. And you guys are located in Mound Ridge, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, as anybody knows that watches the program, we always try to focus on things Harvey County. But we also like it when people from Harvey County move away and go do some amazing things. And then, well, if we can, we like to interview them and just find out how they're doing, what they're doing, and why. And it's kind of interesting because I went to school with Patrick, and we've known each other for a long time. Haven't seen each other in a long time, but he heard about the program, and from there he asked, hey, we're doing something in Mound Ridge, and we really want to get the word out, and we don't have anything like what you guys are doing in Harvey County. Right. And so is there any way we could come on the program and just have a conversation about what our needs are? Right. And I thought, wow, you know, that's an amazing thing, given the fact that everybody knows we have a problem with childcare. Here in Newton, we just had a building that used to be utilized as a childcare facility that went up for auction, was sold, and I don't think anybody has any plans on doing that at that location going forward. So, as anybody knows, anybody that's been listening will tell you that finding adequate childcare for your children, especially the younger they are, up to age 5, is somewhat difficult at times. And so when we talked about this Cradles to Crown and what you guys are going through and all the things that are on the horizon in the future, I had to get you out here and talk to you. So Casie, you are the director for the Child Care Center, correct?
Yes.
Well, could you tell me a little bit about just Crayons to Crayons?
Yeah, so it started out as just a preschool. And then we have decided to kind of expand because we've had so many people on our waiting list. It's been nuts. And so I've been the director for about 6 years. And from that time, we've added a few rooms. Like, we took our storm shelter and added a room, and we took all of our storage and added. So we're just trying everything we can to get those families that are in need of childcare in the door. And so we started with thinking, okay, we got to do something. We got to get some of these people in here because people aren't going to work, you know, and the workforce is suffering too.
Yeah.
And so just, you know, we brainstormed as a board, and Patrick's on my board.
Okay.
And we just like talked about how our foundation in the old building, which our building was built in 1915, so it had collapsed and there was no seal plate and all that stuff. So we decided to make a basement in the building. Well, the more we looked at that, it was just not cost effective. Yeah, it was just, and it didn't add to what we needed. Like, our kitchen is the size of my house kitchen, and we're cooking for 108 kids.
Wow.
And, yeah, so, and she doesn't even have a stovetop.
Wow.
And so, really, I mean, she's cooking out of crock pots. And,
Okay,
you know?
so let me stop you there. Okay. That's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
I mean, so when this started, you said you've been the director for about 6 years, correct? Mm-hmm. And then from there, has it always had that kind of a capacity, or is it you just seen the demand grow over time?
Yeah, it's been growing. They would take about 82 kids, I think was their license at one time. And so now we're up to 108.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And so max capacity.
Yes.
You went from 80 to 108, and you filled every room. Now,
in 6 years.
Something that I thought was interesting too was I had wondered about whether or not you all were a nonprofit or a for-profit entity. Can you tell the audience a little bit about that? Are you a for-profit child care facility or a nonprofit?
No, we're a nonprofit. We function through the Associated Ministries of Mound Ridge, and so we're under their umbrella.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot of hands involved in this child care center. You know, is it okay if I call it a child care center?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know the correct terminology that people use. I guess I would have. Right. I know this. I know that it was very difficult even when I had my children that needed adequate child care years ago. And even now I have a little one that's most likely going to need child care. So do you guys, in Mound Ridge is not that big, you know, so do you find that people are coming from all around to have their children at your facility? Yeah,
we have people from all over, you know, Harvey County, McPherson County, you know, all over. Yeah. We were having some from Wichita come in.
From Wichita.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we saw this massive need, and we knew that building of 3,000 square foot was going to cover that need. And like she said, when we saw this structure issue, we saw an opportunity to serve that mission, because once again, we're a non-for-profit mission through the associated ministries, and we saw this ability to grow this mission and reach out to more people. So yeah, absolutely. Newton carries, I think, about 60 to 80% of her wait list.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because there's no place,
There's no place
in
in
Newton,
Newton, no.
you know?
you said yourself, you just recently lost your facility. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this is not something that came out of, I just find it interesting that you all were feeling a need. This was happening. And then because of unforeseen circumstances that came up, you kind of got into a way with a building, right? So there was a need to move, whether that be move to another facility that accommodates the same amount or whatever. I'm sure would be difficult to do or whatever. But so then the mission then became, instead of like realizing that we were having a hiccup in the road here because we were going to need to repair some building, we need to grow some, that we just do this. We just decide we're going to work as a community and network together to be able to fill a need and a demand, not only in our community, but everywhere else.
Right.
Yeah, so the city stepped up and the school district stepped up, and we all just have brainstormed, and the school has donated property on their playground next to the elementary school, and
Wow.
it's just gone. I mean, like, everybody's on board. I mean,
Wow.
it's been
We've
great.
had the Mountain Ridge Community Foundation, the McPherson County Community Foundation. Everybody has gotten behind this. They saw the need, and they saw the facility. The facility has been a building since 1915, but Cradles to Crayons as an entity has been around since 71.
Wow.
So this business model has shown
Okay.
longevity.
Okay.
So now we're just expanding. We're flowering out
Yeah.
and being able to reach more people. So
Yeah.
And the businesses have really been supportive too. So we have Bradbury that's even on our board and been backing us because they're needing people.
yeah.
They need some hands on deck,
Well,
to do.
okay, I'm not going to do this to you, but I want to throw this out here. Okay, what you're telling me right now is that there is a long list of people and community members and everything. You've thrown some out, but collectively, could you guys just throw out all the names of individuals and people and entities that so far have worked together in unison for this to work?
Yeah.
So our
Send some shout outs.
Okay. So
Love it.
shout outs to all the churches in Mound Ridge. I
Awesome.
mean, we've had Eden and First Mennonite, and I know I'm going to forget some, so I'm just going to say churches of Mound Ridge.
Keep going. Yeah.
And, we have Mill Ridge in the community, and we have Pine Village that have been supportive. And, a lot of just the community members have stepped up. I know I'm going to forget a ton, so.
Well, you mentioned school district set land aside. I mean, we're talking about like every player that could possibly be on board in this community for a community initiative is on board. You
Yes.
guys have come to play.
Yeah, we go hard in the paint.
Yeah.
So when we saw this, it started out with a basement, and we thought, the city came to us and said, hey, why stop at a basement? Why not build a big building? We've talked to the superintendent of schools with the Mountain Ridge School District. They said, look, we have a bunch of room on the south side of our facility that isn't even being used. Why not?
Yeah.
So
So is there going to be like co-sharing with facilities and stuff? You said elementary school. When I say co-sharing, it's like, well, that's a pretty straightforward transition. I mean, if you're on elementary school property, as these kids get older and grow, and then they're able to just look across
were
the way
actually
and
able
familiarize,
to stay at arm's length. We partner and we partner with the school, but at the same time, they have their rules and regulations, and we have ours. We found that it was easier, since we still work under the umbrella of the association, to stay under that umbrella and then work with the school district in concert instead of.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
So we were running buses back and forth to the school, and we had collaborated with the school, and so they were giving us the bus, and we were providing the bus driver, and so that will cut out. I mean, it's just a few steps away, so now
Yeah,
it'll be
just
so
walk
much
right
better.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's great for the kids and great for the parents. I mean, if they have somebody in elementary school and then they swing by and drop off their childcare, then it's just very convenient. So
See, and when we're talking about this facility, you guys mentioned that you were going to grow it, but I mean, I'm thinking you did you mention some floor plan numbers? It was currently you're at what, and then you're going to go to what?
I think we're sitting around 3,000 square foot, piecemeal together for the last 70, 80 years to about 18,000 square foot facility. You'll see rooms for each age group. You see playground for each age group. We have a secure facility, fenced off. We also are partnering with. Part of the reason we do this is to drive value into the facility.
Mm-hmm.
We have a national accredited curriculum. We have faith-based national accredited curriculum. You have all kinds of ways that we drive value into this.
You're not just showing up and having your kid watched. Right. You are talking about
the value is not just your kid staying here.
Yes,
right?
The value is what they're getting while they're there, and then like you mentioned, security, safety, location would be great for that. I'm just on cloud 9 with what you all are accomplishing over there. When you said on a waiting list, so once this building is built, then there's not going to be a question about whether or not I would say the room's going to be filled.
Right. Yeah, it's still. We're going to add about 52 seats for childcare, so about 52 more kiddos, but we have 80 on our list currently, so it's not going to cover that, but it's going to make a big dent in. Yeah.
But we also have the ability with the floor plan we've decided. We have the ability to expand even further.
Yes.
Yeah.
So down
Room
the road.
for building. Yes.
So,
yeah. So do you see this as being something that's just a regional benefit? Like really when it comes to, I mean, we think about it as like it's easy for us to be Newton-centric or Mound Ridge-centric or even like Harvey County-centric. We talked about that, doing that. But just the understanding that, well, what you all are doing there is benefiting everybody around. And I mean, I know when my youngsters were around, I drove 10 miles one way just to have my kid in childcare. That was twice a day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the great thing about Mound Ridge is it's smack dab in the middle of McPherson and Newton and Hutch and Wichita. I mean, we're just like in a great spot. So I think that's another reason that it drove us to do that was the industry and the ease for parents that are going to all of the different towns to work. They're passing by or through, and so.
It's nothing really compared to some of the costs of building an entire facility.
Yeah. So when you're talking about the building of the facility, I know you guys are in the fundraising stage. Can you let me know what your overall goal is? Maybe what is it going to cost?
We have the opportunity to get an accelerated grant, and so what they're requiring right now is like an amazing opportunity that you don't see. You can do 15% of the total capital that you need to be raised for the building, and they will match 85% of the building. So the deadline is December 18th, and we're trying to meet that. We're trying to raise that 15% so we can make this possible and just get rolling.
Okay, so what's that, not to make you do math on the fly, but what's kind of about the number that you got to get? If it's the 15%, what's really what you got to get the 85?
So when we talked to you, what was it, a couple weeks ago, we were raised about $200,000 to meet the $500,000 that we needed, or to the $800,000 that we needed.
Okay.
We're already up to $500,000 since you and I talked.
Okay, good.
So we see the snowball rolling.
Okay, good.
We see it growing, but we just need to come in and get up over that chunk of money.
So what you guys are needing is $300,000 in the next couple weeks. Couple weeks. So we're down to crunch time, people. And this is something that I'm just, the more I hear about it, the more I have you all sitting here talking to me about it, I'm just going to tell you that I'm 100% on board with it. Because I see in so many ways how, wow, this is a great need. We have to have this. I mean, we have to have this. And if you're from Newton or you're from any of these areas and you're listening to this right now, Harvey County, this is an opportunity for you to invest in something that's going to be regionally beneficial to not only you personally, but people that you know and everybody else in between. I mean, I'm on class. So so you have to raise $300,000 from here until the 14th.
Right.
Okay.
Get that paperwork in and get the
Yeah.
get the rest of the $5 million that
Okay.
we need. I mean, we talk about the opportunity cost here. Where else are you going to get $5 million for the cost of $800,000? So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So you
It's
guys have all
exciting.
done your work and your due diligence, and so far everybody that's been doing all this is fully aware. I mean, I'm sure you guys have done presentations and stuff. I know that I've been getting some information from you all, and the plan is to be able to provide some of this information with this interview. So whether we do it in the comments section or whether we do it, however we want for people to be informed about this. And you all have sent me stuff from power, like we literally when you mention some of the stuff, you're gonna have to just see pictures of it.
Yeah, we talk about the partners we've had. Bradbury has been very kind in providing this type of support and get us all kinds of media to push out to people, to show them. But yeah.
And I was going to mention there's a great, this grant that we're getting. It actually is pushing us to think broader and more beyond than just childcare, because it was like a post-COVID grant. And so what they were needing, is to what from COVID do we see that we are needing?
Yeah.
And so our daycare, and I think with all kids, we're seeing a mental health, need for everybody. And so we have partnered with New Beginnings, and they'll be housed in our building. And they are a therapy counseling organization. And so we'll have therapists on stand. So for us giving them space in our building, they will be partnering with us to help us with kiddos. And they can still, their families could go do individual counseling and whatever they needed. But it's just a great opportunity to hit some of those things while they're young, and what can we do to support these kids and these families, and we're just really excited about it.
We talk about those values driven into the actual facility. So we talk about a facility that provides early childhood intervention, therapy to families, broadband access that we are going to be providing. So, yeah.
Well, okay, I'm gonna throw you guys both under the bus here. If you could both individually just tell me, why are you doing this?
It's ultimately a chance to serve, to give back. Part of my goal in this was to utilize my undergraduate studies that I've been doing for my business degree, and this has been a wonderful chance to really put that to the test, help out the community, use it to help out. So, yeah.
Well, I have to say it's not money. Because if anybody knows, daycare is not like a moneymaker at all. So my salary is, no offense to my board member here, but
it's modest, generous, but modest.
I can get by. But anyway, it's the families, it's the kids. I would say the kids first, but just there's a need, and people need to get out there, and they need to get jobs, and they need to be able to support those kiddos, and we need to help them do that. So.
Well, and in your experience, and just leaning on your experience from being a director, I've always wondered about just the development. When you talk about having a child at home, and that's fine, and people watch their kids at home, they stay at home, and that's great and an awesome thing to do. But it almost appears as we go further in the future, there's less and less opportunities that traditionally would bring people that are in their home that are doing the same thing together, that go into the park together, or providing opportunities for you to socialize your youth. And I'm a fan of what is going on here, specifically because we've learned some things, like we talked about post-COVID with development and everything. Do you find that it's a key factor in a young individual's life to be socially integrated in a form and fashion such as a facility that you provide?
Absolutely. When they were going through COVID, people weren't going to restaurants. They weren't going to church. They weren't going to family gatherings. And you can tell. It's hard for them to be able to communicate with each other and to share. It's always been hard for kids to share, let's face it. But, we've seen a decline in, some of those skills. And it's just great to have that structured and free play, both parts, being able to practice those skills of getting along with people because they're going to need that the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Some of our board members are actually in the school district, and they also echoed this.
Okay.
They see a difference in pre-COVID children and post-COVID children and the way they interact.
Yeah, and I know they're even seeing that on high school levels all across the United States, is that I think we underestimated with all of that the socialization aspect. And I think we're moving in the right direction, but it's because of things like what you're doing that's moving us in the right direction. So I'll circle it back around. If somebody's listening to this program right now and they're listening about it and they know that we're even struggling here with childcare, just the desire to want to invest in something that's happening, which is absolutely, I'm just going to tell you both, is awesome. Yeah. I mean, I sit here talking with you both. I can just surmise that you both love your community very much and the kids in your community, and you want to see a prosperous future for your community. But only that, you're not Moundridge centric.
Right.
You're going above and beyond and out, and you're. I just take it back to the fact that you're servicing the need of a greater level. You said look at an opportunity to grow, rather than to maintain. And just could you all give me some information, or the audience some information about how they can get a hold of you, or whoever they need to get a hold of to be able to give you guys some funds?
Yeah, so they can call directly to Cradles to Crayons. I mean, they can call or email, and we can give you that information later. But also, we have a fund set up with the McPherson Community Foundation, and that's our building fund, and they're taking care of all of our money and deposits and paying the bills for this and things like that. So that's where we're at. And I do have a QR code that I can give you that they could scan, and I'll link to that so they can directly go to that and give, and the money comes to daycare. It's not like GoFundMe or
Yes.
So
it's going
it's
straight
directly,
to the fund.
yes.
Yeah.
So that would be the easiest way to do it, is directly through the community foundation.
Okay, so I had a question. If I am donating, I choose to donate a certain amount of money. I know in a lot of instances, you have your bronze, silver, or gold, or whatever, and if I'm donating a certain amount, something's associated with that. Do you guys have anything like that?
Yeah, we have a couple of options. The first one is Hutton made a floor plan, and they have labeled the different rooms into different prices to help us reach our goal of the 15%. And so you can get a room named after you, a plaque, you can put a quote above the room, like do it in someone's name of a loving memory, or. And then there's also an opportunity where installing an art piece, and we actually have been, we're going to collaborate with the school, and some of our old alumni, which they're only like 18 or 17, so I don't know, but they're going to come back and maybe do a mural for us, and in that art piece we're going to have some raindrops hanging from the ceiling, and it's going to look like it's raining, and it's going to have the sunshine coming out of the windows around it. And for each of those strands, you can have a donor plaque given, and it would be, there's like one size is 1,000, and then 5,000 and 10,000, and so you can be on that donor plaque. So. And
that goes back to what you were talking about, just ways to just completely incorporate everything.
Right. Really personalize your donation. Really get something back out of it. Put your mark on the donation.
Yeah, forever.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Even as your kids are there, you say, "Hey, grandma, grandpa, whatever." So
Amazing.
Yeah.
Just walking down this path a little bit further. Is there any other ways that people can contribute that doesn't have to do with monetary? I mean, if I'm somebody listening here and I really want to be on board with what you guys are doing, and I just don't have fun, what can I do to help you?
If you are on her waiting list right now and you're hearing her voice, go to your employer. They can maximize their money too. You don't necessarily have to give yourself. Your employer's hurting because you can't come into work. Your employer knows you're hurting because you can't come into work. So talk to your employer.
Yeah, I think that's great. I know that we'll be doing some in-kind donations also, and so You know, we've been talking about having people come in and paint and things like that. So
Okay.
yeah, there will be opportunities just to serve.
Okay.
And so
It's going to be beautiful, and we really want to reach out to Hutton Construction because they put all that together for us.
Yeah.
They did a wonderful job.
Absolutely.
They definitely filled a need, and
they've been great to work with.
yes,
So, as anybody knows who watches the program, we give the guests an opportunity at the end to be able to speak directly to the hearts and minds of anybody listening. And we're coming to the end. So, if both of you would just tell me what's on your mind, what's on your heart, and tell the audience what you have for them today.
For anyone listening that really wants to donate or reach and serve this mission, it's always appreciated. You're not only helping yourself, you're helping your neighbor, you're helping those who can't reach out and help themselves. So yeah,
I think I would say that, you know, this child care crisis is more than just for the young families and the people that are needing care. I mean, it is those businesses and grandparents and, you know, and for each town, you know, it's just economically for the structure of our whole economy needs to happen. And I just think, you know, it's a good cause and it's a good thing, and we want our kids to be safe and we want to know they're going into a good, nurturing environment. And I feel like Cradles to Crayons gives that.
Amen.
and even though the media paints this as a doom and gloom thing, daycares are closing everywhere. It's not doom and gloom. You're seeing a success story right here. So
I gotta say, I'm gonna get some information from you afterwards and start looking at how I can try to help network with you all to be able to get this moving in the right direction. And I'd say you're trailblazers.
well,
You're trailblazers.
Thank you.
Because I'm seeing the need in my own community, and I'm thinking, man, I would really like to know that there are people that are doing the same thing that you're doing to help promote and benefit and provide a service and for a need that's really
shout out to Lance Gormley for reaching out to the people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Lance.
Okay. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, no, I appreciate you both coming on the program. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to do what I love to do, which is to be able to promote and give people a voice for and an opportunity to speak their voice and to promote their things that they're doing and all that's good on a regional level in our community. So I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Well, folks, there you have it. And thanks for listening to this episode of Harvey County Talk. As always, I was your host, Lance Gormley, and our guests today were Patrick Lambert and Casie Wiens from Cradles to Crayons Child Care Center. I wish you all luck.
Thank you.
All right.